Okay, the amount of times I have tried to record a, I guess, collection tour has taken me far too many times. And I'm about to go somewhere else soon, so I won't be able to be close to my collection, and I just want to get this done and over with. So this is going to be hopefully my last attempt at a manga collection tour. I worked on my collections since the beginning of the pandemic, so back in 2020. It is currently 2022. It is July of 2022. And I just want to show off what I've kind of come together with. I've slowed down on buying manga because I have so much I need to read, but I do want to get into other series later on. But before I continue on with the tour, I do want to go over some things that this video will probably contain and how it's going to be a little bit structured, and then I'll just get into, showing you what I got. So I haven't counted how many volumes I have in my collection. I have a variety of different series, but hardly many are actually completed. So I'll probably mention the amount of volumes at the end of the whole tour. 2, this is going to be a really, really long video. I have tried to make this a short video, but it's going to be long. I am going to explain a little bit of the stories in case you are interested in one and would like to know a little bit about it without having to go out and search it, if I have read it. And I'm just gonna try to be a little casual. I feel like I've been trying to be a lot more structured and stuff, and I'm just gonna go willy-nilly and, show you what I got. And yeah. So I guess that's pretty much it. If I have anything else to say, I guess I'll mention it later. But without further ado, let's go ahead and just get started on what I got. Okay, so starting with the first shelf of my main bookshelf, I'm gonna go over it very briefly. It is my comics section. This is American comics. Over here there's a ton of American comics. I usually go for the Batman universe, the Gotham universe stories, so Joker, Harley Quinn, Batman, and then a couple other ones like Invader Zim. There's some Simpson comics here, and so on and so forth. So there isn't really much to look here regarding manga aside from this, which is an art book from Kimi ni Todoke, which is From Me to You, that anime or the manga, and it's just art from it. I love this story. It is one of my favorite romantic, romance dramas, romantic comedy anime out there, and so I was really happy to pick up the art book. So that's the art book up here, but aside from that, this is all American comics. We're gonna go ahead and go down to the first shelf of my manga. Okay, so here I organized it as all my creepy, horror, thriller, psychological horror genres. So for the most part, it's Junji Ito. I really want to collect all his pieces. I'm close to completing Junji Ito's whole collection, but I still have a couple that I'm missing. Over in the back, I have his art book, which I was really happy to get. I haven't looked through it fully because there are spoilers to certain stories, and I haven't read all of his, stories yet. But let's go ahead and start over here, and then we'll go all the way here, and then we'll go on to the next shelf. So let's start with No Longer Human. Alright, so No Longer Human I haven't read, nor have I, because this is I guess, an adaptation on the original novel by, as you see here, Osamu Dazai. I got the actual novel. I have yet to read it, so I've been in between wanting to read the original one before I read the manga. So yeah, I haven't read either one yet, but I do have them. All I know is that it's sort of low-key about the author, Osamu Dazai, and how essentially that people are more double-faced and they're not really authentic to themselves. And it's pretty dark and brutal and really depressing. So yeah, that's all I really know about No Longer Human. And I guess the concept is that, all humans really aren't themselves, or how they're actually out to be, and everyone's really masking and stuff. So that's all I know, but I have not read it. Gyo, I know nothing about. I have not read it either. I just see a really big fish on it. Hold on. This is the cover for Gyo. I have no idea what it's about. I just see, yeah, really big fish, but it's Junji Ito, so I trust his work very much. Next up we have Uzumaki, which I have read, and I know they're coming out with an anime adaptation, which I'm very, very excited for. So here's Uzumaki. This was really good read. It's essentially about spirals, and as you see here, spiral into horror. It's a really interesting horror manga, just like kind of analyzing spirals and how creepy they can be and how integrated they are in our lives and our daily lives without really knowing. So we follow this protagonist who she lives in a town, and that town is haunted or cursed by the concept of spirals, and until like the whole town goes crazy with spirals, it gets consumed by spirals, and it's really wonderful. I would super recommend it, especially as an intro to Junji Ito. Tomi is down here. I have not read Tomi either, although this is a really famous or well-known title from Junji Ito. I also do not know what this is about, except that it's about a girl named Tomi. I really like to go into his pieces without knowing any context, so I usually don't read the backs. I really trust his work in Junji Ito's books, so I usually like going into them blind. So if you want to know more about Tomi, I would suggest looking it up. But yeah, I have Tomi a part of the collection. Okay, now we're gonna go ahead and look at the front part over here, starting with Paradise Kiss. I know I said this is gonna be my horror thriller area. I've been running out of space to put my manga, so there are a couple, and by a couple I think this is the only one that is misplaced. This is not horror. This is not horror or psychological horror themed. This is pure drama. This was literally just the only place I could fit it. But this is Paradise Kiss, the full series of Paradise Kiss, so no volumes, this is the whole thing. And this is by Aizawa. If you know Aizawa, they have made, they are the creators of Nana. And Paradise Kiss, I believe I watched the anime a really long time ago. I haven't seen it since then, but from what I remember, it's very fashion themed. So it's about a girl who really gets into fashion, and I believe she meets some friends along the way. It's very very dramatic, a little bit comedic, I believe. I think similar to Nana. But yeah, I'm very excited to read it. It's just, she's a thickie, so I haven't gone around to reading her. But yeah, that is Paradise Kiss, and I have the 20th anniversary edition. And we continue with the Junji Ito collection. This very much was thrown off. It's gonna get thrown off a little. I just did it more with like how the colors look. But here we have Deserter, which is another, I think it's a story compilation, short story compilation of Junji Ito's like scary stories. And this one I haven't read. This is one of the newer things I got. But all I know is that one of the stories is about, I think, this family that got stranded in the war or something, and they had to stay in a house and never leave it. And so, you know, that's kind of this sort of survival-esque short story, but there's other stories too along with it. But that's for Deserter. I haven't read it yet, so I don't know any of the other stories. Same with Shivered. I have not read it, but another compilation of short stories by Junji Ito, and I love his short horror stories. They're really nice to just like kind of read. It's not so much commitment to like long series, so I really like his pieces. And then we have Smashed. I have also not read Smashed. This is another one of his short compilation stories. I mean, yeah, there's not much else to say, but I really love the cover on this. I think it's so cool. But yeah, that is another, yet another book I have yet to read, but I keep buying things because I have a problem. Next up we have Fragments of Horror, and this I have read. This is also by Junji Ito, and this is another compilation of short stories, short scary stories of Junji Ito. It's really nice. There's a lot of really good stories, including someone who Well, you know what? I don't even want to spoil it because they're all so short that like even a couple things I can say pretty much spoils the, I guess, the story. So it's another compilation of his stories, really good, but I have read this one and I've really liked it. Another good starter for his short stories. Over in this little slot here, we have Junji Ito's Venus and the Blind Spot. I believe this is another collection of his short stories. I haven't read it yet, but there's so many I have to read. I'm so excited I have a lot of them though, so I can read one after another. But yeah, I have this as well in my collection. Then we have, I think it's Censor over here. Ooh, tight fit. Yeah, we have Censor over here, another Junji Ito work, and this, okay, I haven't read it yet, but from the little bit that I've known about it, it's about a woman who kind of passes by this village, and this man invites her into the village, and she's like spooky woman, so she's gonna like bring terror and horror and creepy stuff into the village, and that's all I really know about it. It's, I believe, a whole story, not a collection of short stories, but yeah, I'm very excited to read it. I especially love the cover and how it like has this gold lettering. Very nice. But yeah, I have not read this yet, but I'm excited to read it. Over here in this little slot, we have Rena. I have recently actually read this. Not one of my favorite pieces of Junji Ito. I don't know why. I was really excited for this because essentially the premise is that this scientist discovers this planet and names it after his daughter named Rena. And everyone in Japan is like raving about this new discovery and like, wow, that's so amazing, great job to the scientist, and everyone begins to praise the daughter as well, just because she's named after the planet, but she gets a lot of fame from it. And she's very shy and she's very quiet, but nonetheless she got a lot of fame from getting the name, for having the planet be named after her. And long story short, the scientists behind like discovering this planet begin to find out that the planet is heading towards Earth very quickly, almost impossibly quickly. And this planet begins to torture and torment the planet, and all human race begins to blame the scientist and Rena, the daughter, for this case, and they think that the planet is trying to get the daughter and the scientist. It's really weird. I liked it, but it was also really short and almost fast-paced and like rushed towards the end, but nonetheless it was a good story and I enjoyed it. So I would definitely give it a read. But yeah, that is Rena. Over here, this is where I stop my Junji Ito collection. That is about all the volumes or the stories I have out of his collection. And here we have one of Kazuo Ume's pieces. I've only recently discovered him from The Drifting Classroom, and this is one of his new pieces, I think. I have not read it. I don't know what it's about, but it has beautiful art and I'm very excited to read it. It also has a really nice cover. I didn't expect the cover to be so nice. It has this like, I don't know, I just really like this textured cover. But yeah, I don't really have much to say because I haven't read anything about it, but very excited to read it. Another horror, thriller, creepy story to add into the collection. And like I mentioned before, this is also by Kazuo Ume's. This is a thickie, also in a series. These are series, these are usually like one-shots. But this here is called The Drifting Classroom. And all I know that is that it's about like, I think middle schoolers or something like that, like a middle school gets transported into a different dimension or something. Very weird. I read like a preview of it in one of like the comics that I had, and it looked really cool and the art's really amazing, so very excited to read this. But yeah, that is The Drifting Classroom. Okay, so I moved the front volumes out of the way, and now you can see my sort of setup. This is a ton of cardboard and like pieces of paper bunched up together, surrounded by tape, just so I can make some sort of book lifter, and it works really well. Like, it holds the book fine, and I've been having it like this for a couple months now. This is cardboard. I purchased it in Daiso a while back, and I haven't seen them sell it since, but these are really, really nice. But yeah, so that's the sort of setup I have over here. But yeah, let's go ahead and look at what I have in the back. So starting off with this over here, which is the Dissolving Classroom. Sorry, I lied. This is another Junji Ito story, and this is one entire story with, it's small stories but consisting of the same characters. So I guess a whole like story, and it consists of these two siblings who torment a town and a school and stuff like that, and it's really like funny but also really creepy. I really enjoyed it. This is what introduced me to Junji Ito and his other pieces. I didn't realize how famous and big he was at the time, and this is also what really made me jumpstart my collection, because I originally really wanted to read just horror manga, but then I discovered other manga, and then I got into that. So yeah, this is kind of like one of the first pieces that really got me into my collection. Next up, we have Blood on the Tracks. This is by Shuzo Oshimi. He has a lot of amazing work. I haven't gone into it, I just know he's a really good author. But Blood on the Tracks is a psychological horror about the relationship between a son and his mother, and his mother being very overprotective to a very unhealthy and almost crazy way. This first volume is mostly just illustrations. It's a very fast volume to get through, but boy does the end really hit you hard. I am so excited to read the rest of this. I've read the second and I think third volumes, but I really want to purchase them and read them at home. So yes, this is definitely something I will be collecting soon, just not at the moment right now, but very good. If you're really into psychological horror, I would so get into this. It's also really interesting to see the dynamic between a son and a really like overprotective mother, and how it can be really strange. I don't know, it's so good. I don't want to spoil it, but it's really good. That is Blood on the Tracks, and I only have one volume of it. Over here we have Doubt 1. Doubt is like, I think everyone mentions it if you've heard of Doubt. It's like Saw. It's a, like, you get random strangers, throw them in a room, and they have to play a game to try to survive, and one of them has to kill everyone. So it's a game called like Rabbit Hunt, I think, and except these high schoolers do know each other, but they all wake up in this weird like room, this abandoned room in place, and they all have like these, I think, numbers or like scan codes on their wrists or whatever, or parts on their body, and then the point of Rabbit Hunt is that there's a wolf among them, so you know that wolf has to kill the rest of them, but they don't know who the wolf is out of them. And yeah, that's the whole point of it. I didn't personally like it as much as I was really hoping to. I was so excited because I love like Saw, Danganronpa, Squid Game. Like I love that sort of, I don't know, almost like social experiment, but to a really like fucked up level. I really like it. I sound really messed up right now, but it's just entertaining. It's all fiction. I know it's fiction, and so that's what makes it entertaining. Yeah, I feel like I should get the second one, but I don't know. I'm probably gonna have to resell this later because I did not enjoy it as much as I did. It was very mediocre for what I was expecting. But yeah, and in following this, we have Judge 1, which I believe is either a sequel or a prequel. There's also another one called Doubt in this like sort of series. Same concept. I think the game it's like, you know, killing games. Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, after I read that, I've been very unmotivated to read this one. I haven't read it yet, but hopefully this one's better. I don't know, or else I'll just have to sell them again. Yeah, that's Judge 1. Next up, we have one of my guilty volumes over here. This is Pleasure and Corruption Volume 1. Pleasure and Corruption is it's a very inappropriate series, story, and it's about a high school boy who isn't really doing good in school, and his parents are kind of, okay, honestly, his parents are really toxic and mean to him. They pressure him a lot, and, you know, he feels like a complete failure to his, you know, his classmates, himself, his parents, and, you know, this is no excuse, right? But the poor kid is like, he's dealing with his own stuff, but he ends up sort of dealing with his emotions by taking upskirt panty shots. I know, just wait, bear with me. He takes upskirt panty shots, and then this girl who goes to his school, she's like the student body president or something, and she catches him and she's like, naughty, naughty, you're not supposed to do that. And so she kind of holds this secret of his against him by being like, well, I'll keep my mouth shut if you let me do bondage on you. Bondage, yeah, like rope play, like, you know, stuff like that. And I put this here because this is a fucking psychological horror. No one can tell me otherwise, because she's crazy. She's insane. She's absolutely insane. And she knows it, and she's torturing him so he can learn his lesson, because she's trying to like teach him a lesson for what he's doing. But yeah, that's kind of the premise of the story. It's very, very inappropriate, and there is a couple scenes that make me wildly uncomfortable. But it's one of those stories that's like a guilty pleasure of like, but what's gonna happen next? What more fucked up could this story get? So I have not yet gotten into the other volumes, but I kind of want to, just to see how like crazy it gets. But yeah, I categorize it as psychological horror, so it's gonna stay here because that shit's crazy, dude. Okay, next up we have Death Note. Death Note is pretty popular. I feel like a lot of people know about it. I have the black edition. I got this in a manga lot. I really, really like it. Like, I think it's so aesthetically pleasing. It's so nice. I have not actually watched the anime. Bear with me. And look, I didn't want it to be this way. But I watched the live action version first. The American, the American one first. I didn't want it to be that way. I didn't, you know, it is what it is. It happened, but look, I'm gonna make up for it. I'm gonna read it, but not right now because I'm reading something else. But yes, this is Death Note. I have volumes 1 and 2 over here, and if you don't know about Death Note is about a high school kid who ends up getting his hands on a notebook where any name he puts on it, he writes in the notebook, they die. That's all I really know about it. I watched the movie, can't remember what it was about, and it was also a really bad adaptation of the story. But that's pretty much the main premise of it. So yeah, that's Death Note. And we're gonna forget about my bad past. But yeah, that's Death Note. Next up, we have the Kingdom of the Gods. Okay, I'm gonna be honest right here. Let me just sit down and be honest. I kind of regret buying this. I have not read it yet. But if you know me, I don't know, I have a really hard time with reading stories that are not in a modern or futuristic setting. I can't get into it. Yes, that includes Naruto. Yes, that includes Demon Slayer. I know I'm missing out on good stuff, but for some reason it doesn't pique my interest. I don't know why. This is about a zombie apocalypse, or some sort of like illness apocalypse, you know, pretty much. I think it's a zombie apocalypse. I have not read it yet. And it's taken in like a historical setting. So there's a lot of like politics that are happening, and I don't know, I really don't know what's it about, and I have not read it, but the art is amazing from what I've seen before. It's like super detailed and it looks really cool. So hopefully I can read it sometime. But this is one of the first like things, I think this was one of the first like Right Stuff packages I bought, and I have not read it since then. So that says something. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this back, and it's gonna stay here for the next couple years until I read it someday. Okay, next up we have Dogs, Bullets, and Carnage, Volume 1. I have not read this as well. All I know is that it's about this world where everyone is kind of mutated with something, but no one really doesn't know why. I heard the story is pretty crazy. I got it in a, I think I got it with these two, like Manga lot. So that's pretty much that. I really don't have much else to say, but that's a part of my collection. Okay, so here we have Shibuya Goldfish, volumes 1 and 2 over here. I have not read the second one yet. I've only read the first one. Okay, I have mixed feelings about Shibuya Goldfish, but for the most part they lean towards it's mediocre. So Shibuya Goldfish is about this boy who is really into photography and all these sorts of things. He goes to Shibuya, and out of nowhere he starts seeing goldfish. They're like really big ass goldfish floating around Shibuya and inside like a mall and everything, eating people. So essentially this is a zombie apocalypse, but they're all goldfish. And no, they're not underwater. They're all in like the air. They're like weirdly magical goldfish who eat people. And it's a survival series where this kid and his friend all try to survive through this apocalypse situation that no one knows about. They're all like, Shibuya's like in this whole like fish tank. It's weird. I read it. It has some really good action scenes, like shockingly the scenes and the action and the horror and the survival aspect was actually pretty spot on, but there was just too much lightheartedness of like, it's okay, we can get through this, blah blah blah, ignoring the fact that it's goldfish and they're killing people. But the action scenes are good. I really like it. Have not read the second volume. I don't think I'm going to finish collecting it. I might resell it. But it's just also so funny to have it in my collection because it's like, you know, killing goldfish. Like, who else would be able to say they read a story about a zombie apocalypse where instead of zombies, they're all goldfish? It's just such a strange concept, but you know, I guess it's a nice read, but don't expect like amazing storytelling, amazing survival or whatever. I don't know, it was all right for me. All right, so we finally reached the end of this first shelf, thankfully, and that is with Iitsu. Iitsu is this very horror scary story about a girl, a ghost, who kind of haunts a boy who's our protagonist because she wants him to be her older brother, and if he doesn't accept it, he's gonna haunt her and like, I mean, she's gonna haunt him and like kill him and stuff, you know. So that's the whole premise of it. It was pretty good. I think it was you know, not the best thing in the world, but it was pretty entertaining. I actually kind of enjoyed it, and there was a lot of gruesome scenes from what I remember. I haven't read this in a while. This was actually a part of my early collection because, again, I was trying to look into like horror stories, and I still am, that aren't Junji Ito. Like, Junji Ito's a pretty good obvious one, but I want to look for other horror stories, short like one-shots like this. So yeah, that is Iitsu. I enjoyed it. But yeah, that finally, you know, finishes our first shelf of many and other parts of my room too. So I'm gonna go ahead, put all the books back here, and then we're gonna go down to my more lovey-dovey lighthearted shelf. Alrighty, so we're all cleaned up here, so let's go ahead and go down to my lovey-dovey, happy, colorful shelf. Okay, so yeah, here I have a lot of lighthearted volumes, a lot of love, romance stories over here. There are a couple things in the back that don't fall in that genre, but they just fit with the color scheme in here, so, you know. Same with Paradise Kiss, like, it doesn't fit in that, but, you know, it is what it is. I just need the space, okay? So that's what it is. So let's go ahead and start with the left side and then again go back to the right. So over here in the back, I have the complete collection of High School Debut. I believe this is by the same creator of My Love Story, or the same artist, I cannot remember. I have not read it yet, but I've been really excited to read it. It took me a really long time to find the omnibus of 1, 2, 3, like the first 3 volumes, for high school debut. I don't know if this is becoming a little less sold or whatever, but I got it secondhand or third hand. It's quite used, sadly. But yes, don't know what's it about. I just know it's about a girl who really wants a boyfriend, but she has more of a tomboy attitude to her. And that's pretty much it. So that's high school debut, and I have the full collection. All those in the back there are a part of the series. Next up, we have Maid Summit. I have volumes 1 through 6 here, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, 6. If you don't know about Maid Summit is a romantic comedy story about a girl who is the president of the school, and she is trying to make the school into like an all-girl school because she really hates guys for reasons, and she is also quite financially struggling within her own household. So she has a job, but she's also not, I don't think she's allowed to have a job because she's going to school. There's certain rules over there, I think. But long story short, she works at a maid cafe, and this boy over here finds out that she does, and she holds this against her, but he also has a huge crush on her. It's very cute, it's very funny. The anime is very good, but it ends like ass. It's a very weird cut for the anime, so I'm definitely excited to read Maid Summit and get through the true ending that is supposed to be so good. So that's Maid Summit, and I have the first 6 volumes to it. Alright, so we're gonna start over here. Bear with me with the really ugly organization. I could not find any other way to organize it so all my manga could fit. I also want to display a couple things, so please bear with me. We're gonna go ahead and do this over here. This is Rosario Vampire. This is a part of this collection down here. I have the first 5 volumes of Rosario Vampire. Let me go ahead and pop this one out so I can show you the cover. Okay, so Rosario Vampire is, this is the 5th volume. This is not the main character. The main character is down here, but I really don't want to take this volume out. That's gonna be a pain in the ass. I don't know if oh, here we go. There's where the main character is. So, our main character is this guy here. He's a normal high school boy. He's very average, but he's really like, his grades were so bad that he couldn't enter any regular high school. The only high school he was able to enter was a monster high school that his parents enrolled in him. They didn't know that it was a monster high school for some reason, but bada bing bada boom, he's in a monster school. So he goes there, meets this vampire girl named Mocha. And they begin to spark chemistry quite quickly, but Mocha has a power where her necklace, if it breaks, she becomes this different side of herself. But essentially the whole thing is a very comedic, I guess, not somewhat romance, right, but more comedic action romance of them just kind of living their school lives together, and it does get a lot more serious towards the end of this series and the actual anime. I can't remember what happens, but yeah, that's pretty much the premise of it. It's more of a guilty pleasure because honestly the manga is just more comedic and just a kind of a nice little pass by to read, nothing too serious. But yeah, that is Rosario Vampire. Okay, next up is something that probably no one knows about. This is Bird Kiss. This is a Korean comic, so a manhwa. And honestly, look, it looks really whack. It's by Tokyo Pop. If you know manga, if you know, like, you know, Tokyo Pop, then they don't really come out with the biggest, greatest, you know, stories. But this one, it was weirdly good. I don't know how to explain it. It was essentially the premise of the story is that this girl, I hate her. I hate her. I've never read a story or watched a story where our protagonist I just absolutely hate, and I was not rooting for her. And I think that's the whole point of it. Like, the author made her very unlikable, but there's a lot of things that you get to have her taste her own medicine, but you're following like the mean character that's our protagonist, which is a really nice change of pace. But but she is someone who really cares about popularity and how her image is and how popular, or, you know, how pretty she is or whatever. She's not a popular girl, but she's just an average high school girl, but that's what she cares about. She is a part of this very bougie middle school, high school, and she really has a crush on these popular guys who are very rich, she has a friend who is very nerdy, and he is absolutely head over heels over her, but she rejects him in the meanest way possible. She ridicules him, she doesn't care about him, and he cares about her. He does a lot for her. They've been friends for a very long time, but she treats him very awfully, and he gets a glow up, and, you know, everyone starts caring about the friend and not her, and so she's like, what the fuck? And, you know, she gets a lot of, like, mean insults and, you know, things that she deserves. But I only have the first 3 volumes, and I still always put these in the wrong order. I don't know why, I only have the first 3 volumes, but there are 5 volumes. I don't think I'll be able to get the next 2 volumes, but honestly, I read these all in like a day, and it was really, really fun. Like, I had a good time, even though the art is kind of whack, but it was good. I actually liked it. So I don't know, it was a good time. I enjoyed it. I liked it. Over here, I have Ouran High School Host Club, very good classic romantic comedy story show manga series. I watched the anime first, very, very long time ago. I absolutely loved it. Every second of it, I adored it. I'm very excited to read Ouran High School Host Club because it goes much further than what the anime did. If you don't know about it, the overall concept is that this girl goes to this very bougie academy, this high school, right? And she's on there because she's getting, like, you know, financial aid and stuff like that, but everyone sees her as a commoner, and they're like, why is she here, you know, blah blah blah. Like, she doesn't look like the type to be there, because everyone looks very bougie, everyone's very proper and stuff like that. They all come from rich families. She is our main character here. She does look like a man or a boy, and so everyone thinks that she's a boy, I guess when she was going in to explore the school on, like, the first day, she goes into this music room or something, and she bumps into a vase, breaks it. Turns out it's this host club at the school. If you don't know about a host club is a club or a place where primarily it's men who serve women, but it's nothing sexual in this case. It's nothing sexual. It's just to provide company and to, you know, make the women feel happy and feel needed and loved and cared for, and that's like a host club. Don't know why that would be in an academy, right? But it is. And so she bumps into this vase, this very expensive vase. The members of the host club find out. They're like, you're gonna have to pay for that, and she's like, no, because I don't have the money for it. So they're like, well, you're gonna have to raise the money for it. So they have her join the host club thinking that she's a boy, and turns out she's actually pretty popular, and next thing you know, they find out she's a girl, and our main, like, prince of the host club ends up falling for her, and it's very cute, it's very funny. All the members are so sweet, and they all care about each other. It's nothing sexual at all. It's all very sweet and wholesome. I know this main character gets a lot of crap for, or the prince gets a lot of crap in the anime for a lot of lines and a lot of controversial things they have said, but it's a very, very good story, and I enjoy it. I love it. It's a very good classic romantic comedy. Would definitely read it if you haven't already or watched it. I'm very excited to read it. I have not read the manga yet, but very good. Okay, so next up over here, I have the first 9 volumes over here and over here. 9 volumes of the Wallflower. I got this series a really long time ago. It's not the complete series. The series actually goes on pretty far. More than 20 volumes, I believe. But I watched the anime a long time ago as well. I can't remember too much about it, so bear with me with this really, really bad summary. This story is about this girl over here who looks very scary and is like super introverted and everything. And I believe she moves into this mansion, this very rich bougie mansion where there are a lot of beautiful, beautiful men. And those beautiful men try to help her, I guess, come out of her shell. It's very comedic. I believe there's some drama. And yeah, that's all I really remember about the story. I've been wanting to read it for a long time now, but I don't know, I just keep getting sidetracked with other stories. But yeah, that is the Wallflower, and I have the first 9 volumes of it. God, I cannot talk today, but yeah, that's that. Okay, and over here I have LDK. This stands for Living, Dining Room, and Dining and Kitchen. It's just like how, I guess, in Japan, if you're gonna like rent a home or buy a place, they'll usually say LDK if it has a living room, a dining, and a kitchen or something like that. That doesn't really matter, but anyways, it's called LDK. It's a romantic comedy, or more like drama, like it's very dramatic. It's very dramatic, actually. It's about a girl who she stands up for her friend who likes this guy, because her friend like told him that she likes him, but then he like turned her down really dryly, which, you know, he's fair to do that. You know, if you don't like someone, you don't, you know, have to give them like the most sweetest sugar-coated response in the world. But he wasn't very nice about it, and so the friend got pissed off, and so she was like, hey, yo, why you treat my friend like that? That's rude as fuck. Like, don't do that. And, you know, he was like, well, I have the right to. And she gets mad at him, and, you know, they get all beefy. And turns out that she lives right next to him, because he like moves right next to her in her like apartment complex or whatever. And some things happen, and she like floods his apartment somehow, and he has to stay with her. And so that's like the beginning-ish of the story, and so there's this angst, and they begin to like each other, and yada yada. And yeah, so that's kind of the premise of the story. It's very dramatic, very it's just dramatic. There's a lot of drama that happens, unnecessary anger and like stuff like that. So I don't know, I like it. And so I've been slowly reading this. I've read like the first 3 volumes. Still have to collect more, but yeah, I have volumes 1 through 3 and then like 7 and 8, very random. But I have yet to collect more and read more. But I like it. I enjoyed it. I enjoy the drama. I enjoy the tea sometimes. So that's that. Now I'm gonna go ahead and move. I'm gonna have to move all this crap out of the way so I can tell you what I got in the bag. So 1 second. All right, so I finally moved all the books out of the way. It was much quicker than what I thought I did. So, but anyways, just so I can show how I do this, these are some cardboard boxes thingies that I got in packages that were like so my objects don't like move around. A lot of my book risers are things that are recycled or that I made. At the end of the day, no one sees it, so it doesn't have to be pretty, but that's what that is. And there's another one right there too. But okay, this is the back part of my collection, and let's go ahead and start with Chobits. Okay, so Chobits is a romantic comedy about a guy who finds a robot girl on like the street and picks her up, turns her on, and she is just like waking up for the first time, and he's teaching her about life. And she's very cute, and that's pretty much the whole premise. He's just teaching her about life, and they end up falling in love with each other. This is in a very futuristic world where everyone just has like personal robot assistants, so that's why when he finds her on the street, he's like, holy crap, like I scored. But you know, she can't really help much because she's like fully restarted and stuff, but it gets very serious and dramatic at the end. This is by Clamp, one of the creators of the XXX Holic, and there's something else that I always forget what it's called. But they're a very, very wonderful group of authors. They have great stories, and Chobits is one of them. I love it. It's one of my childhood favorites. I was super into it as a kid with my friend. And yeah, that's Chobits. I love it. Very cute. The anime, amazing. Little perverted, but I mean, what can you do? It's anime. But it's good. I really liked it, and the opening, it's a bop. It's a bop. I can't say nothing else. It's a bop. I don't think I'm going to be collecting this. I haven't read this first volume, by the way. I have not. But I don't know. I don't think I'm gonna collect it. I like the anime as it was. I just bought this because it was on sale at a really good price, and it was a 20th anniversary edition. It was just so pretty looking. So yeah, that's Chobits. That's it. So let's go ahead and go on to the next one. Okay, so over here we have Boys Run the Riot, and oh my god, I love this volume. Is amazing. I really loved it. It was so entertaining. It was so good. It was so great. But the rest of the volumes that are in this series, I did not love as much. So Boys Run the Riot is about this trans high school boy who lives in Japan, but he's kind of, I guess, it's kind of a secret. He hasn't really told many people that, but he struggles a lot because, you know, he has to go to school and everyone makes fun of him because they're like, why are you wearing pants, or why are you acting like this, and so on and so forth. And he can't really say much because he doesn't want to be looked at as strange or as abnormal, you know. And so he's very quiet into himself and trying to fit in while also trying to feel comfortable. But this guy comes, I forgot his name, but he is so confident. He has like piercings, he's like loud, and he's a transfer student, and long story short, they become friends, and they start up this like fashion name or fashion company together. Very, you know, they start off with like a t-shirt and stuff like that, because they both are super into fashion. He's very jealous of this transfer student because he's so confident to himself, but they become really great friends. And so that's kind of the premise of the first volume. And so the whole story is really about them creating this fashion brand and trying to sell like t-shirts and stuff like that. But I don't know why. I read the second volume and I think I read the third volume, and it just like felt like it sidetracked a little. But I also enjoyed certain parts. It felt like rushed, but also sidetracked. I don't know, maybe because I read it during a time where I had to read pretty, I don't know, that I wasn't comfortable. I don't know what it was. I really wish I liked the other ones as much as I love this volume, because this volume was so good. It was great. It had so much to it. But yeah, that's Boys Run the Riot. I'm definitely going to try to give the other volumes another shot because I really want to love this series. But yeah, that's Boys Run the Riot. Let's go ahead and go on to the next one. Okay, next we have Skullface, bookseller Honda-san. This is a really chaotic series. I have read this volume, and I do not find myself buying any more. There is an anime, so I might give that one a shot. It's just, this volume contains so much, like, words. Like, it's not that I'm being lazy, it's just that there's so much that's going on, and I read, like, every little thing. It just gets really tiring, and it's just very, like, it's just so much that happens. But, the premise of the story is that, we follow our protagonist, who's a skullface, a skeleton man, and he works at a bookstore, and it's just like every chapter is kind of like a short story on his encounters at work, or his like certain moments and things that happen at working at a bookstore. And he has other characters like co-workers like Paper Bag Man or Gas Mask Man or whatever. And there's a section in this book where he encounters like an American or like a foreigner, and what's it like selling books to a foreigner and stuff like that, or a weeb, and you know, it's very funny. I liked it, just it was a little too much for me visually, but yeah, that's Skullface, bookseller Honda-san. I'm not going to be reselling it though. I really liked it, but I'm just not going to be purchasing any more of the volumes. Okay, so next up we have Gangsta. Gangsta is a very action-packed comedic story. I've only read the first volume, which is the only one that I have. And it's about these two guys who are not really good guys, not really bad guys. They don't really work for bad guys or good guys. They just kind of they work for whoever will pay them. And they live in a very, very, very dangerous city. So there's a lot of action. They're trying to like help people. Yeah, that's pretty much the premise of it. I feel like that was a really bad explanation, but it's really good, and these two characters are so well developed. I like it. I want to get the more volumes, but I heard it's hard to get more. So yeah, good story. A lot of action packed. A lot of like, I don't know how to explain it. It gives it very like crime-esque, mystery, whatever story. I don't know. I'm terrible at explaining this story, but it's good. Trust me, it's good. Next up, I have Beast Complex, and Beast Complex is made by the same person who created Beastars. Beast Complex is a compilation of short stories regarding, I guess, just like moments between. They're just short stories. They're all very different. And it's just different dynamics between like predators and prey. It's nice. I don't know, I really enjoyed it, and I wish there was more Beast Complex because I loved this volume so much. And I also adore the art style. It's this very sketchbooky kind of art style, and I really like it. So that's Beast Complex. I also really enjoyed Beastars, so that's why I picked this up, and I'm very much happy with it. And again, I really love short stories because it's not much to commit to, and you know, I can read a story on the toilet and then be gone, you know? So it's nice. Okay, so right next to Beast Complex, we have Beastars, of course. I have volumes 1 through 6, and I haven't read it yet, but I have watched the anime, and I really like it. The overall story is following our main character, who is, what's his fucking name, Luigi? Legoshi. Pardon me. Legoshi. He is a wolf, and he is a predator, so a lot of people fear him. The school has like predators and prey, so herbivores and carnivores, and they kind of mingle together, but they're still kind of like sus around each other because, you know, carnivores have this instinct to want to prey on meat and eat meat and stuff like that. So there's that sort of aspect of the story, but there's a mystery element where this one student gets killed by a carnivore, and so there is this mystery of who killed him, and that's what Legoshi and his other friends try to figure out. And so that's kind of the plot of the story. It's very vague, but it's very good. It's a really good story. A lot of the characters are amazing. And yeah, so I really like it. He meets a bunny called Haru, where he ends up falling for her, and there's that, you know, we can't be lovers, how could a bunny fall in love with a wolf, and all that sort of stuff, which sounds really cringy and edgy, but you know what, it's good. I liked it. So here we have No Guns Life. It's kind of like Chainsaw Man, where actually not really. I mean, the only thing that makes it like Chainsaw Man is that this guy is part gun, so he's part machinery. And it's almost like a murder mystery, or not a murder mystery, it's a very crime case mystery sort of series. I've only read part of the first volume. I've been really wanting to read the rest. So yeah, I have the first 8 volumes of it. I don't know how many there are in total, but it's really good. I love the art style. It was just really serious and detective-y. He's a detective, I think that's what it was. And he has like a whole past to him, so I'm very excited to read it and get into it. But yeah, that's No Guns Life, and I have that a part of my collection. Alright, so next up here, I have my only volume of Wotakoi. This is very thin. This is a Spanish volume of Wotakoi. Love is Hard for an Otaku. It's volume 10. I have watched the anime. I haven't watched the very end of the anime, and I know the manga gets really good. I don't have any of the other volumes. I've been wanting to get the other volumes, but the whole premise of Wotakoi Love is Hard for an Otaku is about these adults who work in an office, and they all nerd out about something. So one of them nerds about games, one I think manga, one cosplay, and I forgot what the other one was nerding out about too. I I don't know, comics? No, I guess that's manga. I can't remember what's the other thing, but everyone has some sort of like nerd or some sort of hobby thing, right, to them. And it's just about how, as adults, even though they have their own little hobbies and nerd things, they can find love as well. It's very cute, it's very sweet, the anime is very good, and the opening is a banger as well. So, yeah, this is volume 10. I haven't read anything of it because I'd like to read the other things. I just really like this, and I saw it in Mexico when I bought it, so I was like, yeah, you know what, I'm gonna just add it to my collection. But yeah, that is Wotakoi Love is Hard for an Otaku, volume 10. We finally reached the end of our second shelf here, and that is with Hatsune Mix. Oh, she's a chunky girl. This is a whole compilation of very, very, very short stories, like a couple pages short stories, on random scenarios with Hatsune Miku and the rest of the Vocaloids. If you don't know about Vocaloid or Hatsune Miku, which would be very, very difficult to believe because she's huge, and she's a queen, and I love her so fucking much. But Hatsune Miku, along with Vocaloids, they are these holograms, or this, okay, they're like a software that produce music, but they aren't like real people. They're just like manually produced music, and they have thousands upon thousands of songs that are official and also unofficial. They have their own tours and concerts, and they're all holograms. It's so sick. I've gone to one of their concerts and it was so fun and so good. I've loved them since like I was a kid. So yeah, that is Hatsune Miku and Vocaloids. And so when I saw this, I was like, hell yeah, I want to pick that up and read some. I thought it was just gonna be really cute and funny stories about them. And honestly, it was pretty alright. It was pretty mediocre. I don't know. All the short stories are really quick and fast-paced, but there are a couple that are actually really, really good. Some serious, some chibi, some mostly comedic, and yeah, nothing canon. That's why it's the unofficial Hatsune Mix. But yeah, very good. Yeah, that's pretty much that, you know. I finished it, I read it, but it took me a really long time to get through because they were all just short stories, and it kind of got a little too, like, I don't know, it ran its course pretty quick because it contains, like, it's like an omnibus of all the other short story collections that this author has done, I guess. But yeah, anyways, that's that, and that completes the whole second shelf of my book shelf. And now we're gonna go ahead and go down to my last one, which is the ugliest looking one, and now I'll explain what the bottom one is. Let me go ahead and clean this crap up though first.